Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I've got a different type of video for you. It's a cooking video. This was a bit of an impromptu thing in the sense of I wasn't actually planning on filming it. I was planning on vlogging it, but I wasn't planning on actually making a tutorial. But then I figured I finally, I'm going to make nachos. That's the entire point here that we're getting at. But I finally actually had a plan in mind rather than just going for it. So I figured I might just film it, and if it tastes good, I'll make it into a tutorial, and it tasted great, so here we have the tutorial. Beforehand, just in case you're worried about your cooking skills, or maybe a lack thereof, no need to worry about that, because one thing about the food that I make is it needs to be quick enough, because after a full working day, I'm not going to be standing in the kitchen for 3 hours before I can finally actually eat. And it also needs to be relatively budget friendly because I'm not rich and I'm also a bit of a cheapskate, admittedly. So this isn't an expensive dish, and it's also not something that you need haute cuisine skills for or anything. You just, basically if you have basic cooking skills, you can do this. It's not really difficult. It's actually pretty easy. Really easy, actually. Let's get on to it. We're just gonna start off with cutting the vegetables. I'm starting with a paprika. I actually bought 3 of them, but I ended up eating the other 2 as snacks because I only needed 1. I'm not even sure why I bought a bag of 3. I could have just bought 1. Anyway, not important. I'm just cutting into the center part so I can just pull that out. So you're immediately rid of the stem and most of the seeds in the middle, which is nice and easy. Then I just cut it in half and then realized there was a baby paprika in my big paprika. I did not expect that. So yeah, I just quickly tossed it and then went on with the schedule of cutting the paprika into bits. You don't need to make these completely microscopical, small or anything. I want them to be small enough that I don't need to use a fork and knife for this dish. I just want to be able to scoop everything up with the nacho chips themselves, so I want them to basically be bite ready. So I just cut them up and then cut them up the other side so you sort of end up with squares, sort of. And then it's time for an onion. This onion was quite big, so I'm using only 1/4 of an onion. If you have smaller onions, you can use half an onion. It just depends on how much onion you would like in your dish. This isn't a scientific experiment. You don't need to measure anything. Just roughly use what you think you'll like. This cooking method, or cutting method I actually learned from a cooking channel in the Netherlands. I love watching those. I don't know. Then a bit of garlic. And I'm just going to take the skin off camera so I can just immediately dump it in the trash bag. But anyway, I like watching cooking channels just because they're so relaxing, And they're just nice to watch, especially if they're making something you like. I like cooking channels. Anyway, I'm just chopping these up in slices first. And then just chop, going down on it with a knife until that sounded creepier than I meant for it to sound. I just want small bits of garlic. I don't want to accidentally have a large piece of garlic in my mouth at the end. I just want it to spread nicely throughout the entire dish. Then all of that is going to go into the pan together with minced meat. And then I'm also going to add the, and there's also a bit of salt and pepper in it, by the way. And a bit of oil, sunflower seed oil to be precise. I like baking in it. Anyway, I also added the actual corn. I literally almost forgot the corn. It's terrible. But anyway, I just keep baking it until the minced meat is safe to eat. And if everything, basically at this point you could eat it and not get sick. That's basically the whole idea. Because I only want to use the oven to melt the cheese and not to actually prepare the dish completely. But I just make sure that this mixture is completely ready basically to be eaten and then spread it out over the bottom of an oven dish. Now, I've seen videos on YouTube that you don't want to be the subject of. Use an oven dish, don't use something that can't stand the heat of the oven. You don't want glass to explode, you don't want plastic to melt. You want an oven dish. So, yep. Then I'm just using a nacho dip, just a dipping sauce. This one is the own brand of my favorite supermarkets. And yeah, it was cheap and it works. I actually prefer this one to be used in a dish and not on its own, just with the chips on their own. But anyway, in a dish it's just very nice and easy to use a dipping sauce, just because there's already spices in it. It already is supposed to taste good. So it just saves a lot of time and effort, like you don't have to make a whole sauce yourself. So when you get back home from work, you can just quickly do this and you're not in the kitchen for like an hour. Because after a day of work, I just don't wanna. So yeah, I'm just basically scooping all the content out of the jar and then spreading it out over my dish. I'm not pressing too hard because I personally like to have layers in my nachos, to each their own. I just like how it looks. So yeah, I'm just spreading it out evenly and then I'm moving on to the next step, which is going to be the avocados. I actually grabbed 2 avocados and made sure that I bought them early enough that they had the chance to ripen a bit further, so they're really nice and soft. I hope. This is always a scary part of cutting an avocado. Cutting it and then opening it to see the truth. And the truth of this avocado is it's absolutely perfect. Like seriously, it's soft green, it's not brown, but it's completely buttery and soft. And it just makes me so happy to have a perfect avocado. Like seriously, it's the small things in life that really matter, you know? Like, I don't know, like it makes me happy, okay? Just let me have a moment here. Anyway, then I scoop the perfect avocados out of their skins. I use 2 avocados, by the way, because I really like avocado. I just love the taste of it. Of course, you don't need to use as much. You can always actually exchange ingredients for other stuff. If I use something you don't like, you don't have to use the exact same things. But yeah, I love avocado, so I'm using 2 complete avocados. Avocado. I have no idea how to pronounce it really, but you know, you can see the vegetable I'm using. Anyway, then I'm just going to exchange my spoon for a fork and start mashing them. I'm doing this on a plate, by the way, simply because I can then reuse the plate to actually eat my food from. Because I'm lazy like that. Also, I have a wooden cutting board and I don't want to try to like clean it after I've smashed avocado into it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just mashing it up until it's all nice and soft. If your avocado is way too hard and you really don't have time to buy a different one, you can just use a blender or something. It works, but it's not perfect. It's nicer if your avocado is just, you know, soft and mashable. But anyway, then I just scoop it, sort of distribute it over the entire dish. Just basically scraping it off the plate and just sort of, you know, distributing it over the entire dish. Again, I want nice layers. I like having nice layers in my dishes. I just like the feeling that if you scoop something out of it, then you actually get, you know, the full experience of all the ingredients the way they're supposed to be, and not accidentally have a scoop without any avocado or without any sauce or something. That sort of thing just annoys me. So I want even layers. It's a bit of a thing with me. But yeah, so I just do that. And then it's time for the chips. These are actual nacho chips that are from the cooking section of the supermarket and not the snack section. These are meant to be used in a dish, is what I'm trying to say. So they only have a bit of saltiness to them. But they don't have a flavor, because, you know, you don't want to disrupt the flavor of the dish, probably. I'm not using the entire bag, of course. If you're making this for 2 people, then you can just easily finish this in one sitting. I'm also going to eat this, because I'm only eating it alone, for breakfast in the morning. So making sure I have enough chips left to still have fresh chips in the morning, because after a night in the fridge, they're gonna get a bit soggy. Then I put cheese over it. Use whatever cheese you like. I'm just using Dutch cheese. Sort of young, but not really young Dutch cheese. And I love cheese. I like cheese. I adore cheese. Without making it creepy. I just really like the taste of cheese. So I use a lot of it, is what I'm trying to say. You could use a little bit less cheese if you want this to be a bit healthier, maybe. But I love cheese, so there's a lot of cheese. And then you just have all the nice little layers. At which point it's time to stuff it in the oven. I'm using it at like 180 degrees Celsius. It doesn't really matter how hot it is as long as it's hot. That's basically it. As long as it's, you know, not too hot for your oven dish, it's fine. But it does need to be hot enough for the cheese to melt. And while the cheese is melting, you can immediately do the dishes. I don't know, I prefer to do that while I'm cooking because I just hate the feeling of having had a nice supper and then being like, oh, now I still need to do all the dishes. I prefer to just have it done as quickly as possible, so I just do that while the cheese is in the oven. Well, the dish is in the oven, but the cheese is melting. Then once the cheese has molten, it looks like this and you're ready to eat. All the layers and it's all nicely heated up by now, and like it's, I just love nachos. I love tacos too. Tacos. Another word I can't pronounce. I just love dishes like these, but this is just so super easy to do and it just tastes great. And I was gonna say here we have the final result, but this isn't a makeup tutorial. You just saw the final result at the end of the video. I'm filming the intro and end of this video later, so unfortunately I have nothing left of my nachos. I'll need to make them again. Anyway, yeah, just to be sure, I'll put the recipe and the ingredients down below in the description as well. And of course, if you don't like a certain food or if you're allergic to it, you can always, you can always sort of replace ingredients with other ingredients that you do like or, can safely eat, basically. Like if you don't like paprika, for example, you can also just, use something else that's sort of similar. Like I wouldn't use cauliflower or anything, but like something that's relatively similar and that you do like and that you do feel like will taste nice in the nachos. I don't know how much fat is in there or how many calories. I work as a postman, so it's not like I'm really worrying about getting fat. I don't count calories, so I have no idea how many calories are in here. If you want to make it low fat, I can imagine it would help to not add the cheese. But that's something you'll have to decide for yourself. Like with any recipe, just, change it to however you like your own food. Because obviously if you're going to eat it, you want to make it in a way that you like it. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this video, please click the like button. It would really help me out. And if you want to see more of my videos, you can always subscribe to my channel. Actually, mostly do makeup tutorials. Thank you very much for watching this video at any rate. I hope you'll have a wonderful day and I hope to see you next time. Bye!